She made $250,000 by selling her farts in a jar, but it almost killed her. Now, if you're not familiar with this absolutely wacky story, I'm going to give you a bit of a lore rundown. I made my first video on her a little bit over a month ago, whenever this whole fiasco first started. But basically, she's a reality TV star. Her name is Steph Matto. I don't know if I'm saying that last name right, but she was on the show 90 Day Fiancé. That's really where she got her internet fame. And then she decided it was going to be a good idea to go a step further past what Belle Delphine did, and instead of selling her bathwater, she's just going to straight up sell her farts in a jar. She's going to lean over, rip one into a jar, seal it up, and ship it off. This whole situation just feels like a bad, wet dream to me. Like, I have a hard time wrapping my head around that this is actually happening. It feels like I'm watching a cartoon episode or something. Like, what's going on here? So basically, all that's happened since I made my last video about Steph is that she continued selling her farts in a jar, went from making $100,000 to over $200,000 from her fart jar empire. She's out here making big businesswoman decisions. She's the true definition of a girl boss. But then, tragedy struck Steph as she was leaned over another jar about to rip a nasty fart to ship it off to a lucky customer. She thought that was the end. She thought she was about to have a stroke. Quote, she says, "I thought I was having a stroke and that these were my final moments. I was overdoing it." So she went to the hospital to get checked out because she thought she was in serious trouble. And then she says, "I didn't tell my doctors about the farting in the jar, but I did tell them about my diet. It was made clear that what I was experiencing wasn't a stroke or heart attack, but very intense gas pains." And the diet that she mentions bringing up to the doctor was beans, eggs, mixed with banana protein shakes to enhance the smell. So she was just on a straight up protein filled diet. And if you know anything about protein farts, those things are rancid beyond belief. You would think a rat just crawled up into your anal cavity and died right there on the spot and is now decaying, and the decay fumes are coming out of your anus. Those things smell putrid. Normally with women selling stuff like this online, like with the bathwater with Belle Delphine and now the farts with this woman, you would think they would just skip over the part of actually doing the deed of like taking the bath or farting into the jar. They could just skip over that process and say they did it. Like they could say they farted into the jar, just ship it off. And I'm sure you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference unless, you know, they were looking through a microscope to see if like she actually accidentally left any doo-doo particles into the jar. But surely she didn't have to take it this seriously. I just think it's absolutely insane that she dedicated that much of her life to running this fart jar business. Like, she was dead serious on running this business. Like, for example, like I bring up with Belle Delphine, her selling the bath water in the jars. That right there, I guarantee you, was not actually bath water that she bathed in. But this woman right here, she took it to the whole nother level. She said, "I'm going to sell farts in a jar, and I'm going to make my whole life revolve around it." And she did. I got to give her a round of applause for that because she took it serious. She said, "I'm going to die running this fart jar business." And she almost did. She was willing to lay her life down to sell fart jars to her simp audience. And I don't blame her. Making 250 grand, like $50,000 a week. Obviously, anybody I would fart into a jar for that much a week. And as for the rate that she was pumping out these fart jars out of her fart factory, she said that she was making 50 jars of farts a week, which required her to increase her fiber intake, therefore resulting in the diet that almost made her feel like she was dying. And then obviously, while she was at the hospital, her doctor told her to change her diet habits and put her on a gas suppressant medication. And then, you know, effectively that ends her business because she can't rip nasty farts in jars anymore. So looks like the fart jar empire is officially crumbled to the ground. I hate to see Steph go because the business she made was truly a once in a lifetime opportunity. It was a once in a lifetime kind of business that's never going to come around again. But the funniest part of this story, the absolute most hilarious part, is she referred to herself as a fartrepreneur. She was the fartrepreneur woman who sold her farts in jars and put little rose petals in them to make it add to the smell. Imagine being asked what you do as your business and then you're like, "Yeah, I'm a fartrepreneur." What, a fartrepreneur? Yeah, I'm a fartrepreneur. I fart into jars. Fartrepreneur, you know. I love that word. I can't get enough of saying it. It's so funny that she calls herself that. But if you thought that was the last you would see of the fartrepreneur and her fart jar industry, you're utterly mistaken, my friend, because she's coming out with an NFT line about her fart jar. She says, we put the art in fart. This whole thing is just so silly. I might just purchase that NFT because of how silly that slogan is. But it seems like everybody's just coming out with NFTs these days. The most recent thing I can think of is Stan Lee even came back from the dead, rose up out of the grave like a zombie just to sell his own NFT. He'd seen the hype is so real on NFTs that he had to just come back to life to promote his own. And I can't blame the guy. NFTs are where it's at, baby. Haven't you seen those Bored Ape Yacht Club parties? That's where it's at, man. That's where you dream to be. You dream to own a Bored Ape so you can be in those exclusive yacht parties. And it says, according to her, 100 NFTs unlock a jar, which will make the owner, quote, explode with excitement. So it seems like she's fully buying into the meme of this whole thing, and that's absolutely hilarious. At least she's being a good sport about it. She knows that what she's doing is very absurd, and she's playing into it beautifully. She's making her money and also being funny while she does it. What is this? What kind of multiverse are we living in? It's very sad to see our fartrepreneur have to shut down her business. I'm going to rip a little toot for her later in memorial. But all good things must come to an end, and nothing can last forever. And that's going to be about it for this story. That's all there is to it. I just really wanted to cover this absolutely wonky situation. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out. When we needed our hero Belle Delphine the most to sell more bathwater, we had another hero step up in her place and sell her fart jars. Matto, whatever your last name is, you're a true hero and you have my respect. I hope you get everything situated out with that stomach gas issue. Hope you don't like explode from your fart jar business or whatever, but you know, make that money.